What's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, bringing you another episode of my weekly Q&A show, The People's Questions, episode 152. Before I begin, I would just like to thank all of you guys out there that sent in a very, very solid episode of questions from all different varieties of categories. And I'd like to give a shout out to the winner of this episode who came up with the best question of the episode, which I will be sure to answer last, going out to Mr. Fogs Gaming, which I believe is actually one of my newer subscribers. So shout out to you for bringing in the best question of the episode, and jumping right into them with the first question coming from Zach Williamson. And you want to know, how would I rank the Assassin's Creed game series? Well, I haven't had a chance to play all of them, but if I could name my top 3 favorite and my top 3 least favorite, my top 3 favorite Assassin's Creed game would be Black Flag, number 1, then Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, number 2, and then Assassin's Creed 2, number 3. And if I had to list my top 3 least favorite, it would be Unity. Didn't really like Unity all that much. Liberation, wasn't a fan of the main protagonist. And I really did not enjoy the third Assassin's Creed game. It felt more of a chore to push myself through. The next question comes from GSS765, and you want to know, with the uncertainty over the future of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, do I think Sony should hand Spider-Man back to Marvel? If so, who would I like the main villain to be for the first film? So basically, who do I think should be the first villain if Sony does give Spider-Man back to Marvel? Well, we don't want to do Goblin again. Venom would be too fast. I don't know. I think if you're going to use Spider-Man, if you want to start with a clean slate, I think you should pick a villain that hasn't been used in the films yet, and probably a very underrated villain, which, I would seriously consider using maybe Vulture, which they kind of teased in the second one, maybe Mysterio, maybe even Kraven. Kraven would be interesting, but I think they teased him too in the end credits. But yeah, those are just a few of the ones that I think they should use if they do decide to reboot the franchise. The next 2 questions come from the Oldie Boy 123, and you want to know, what is my favorite DC animated film, and do I play any PC games? No, I don't play any PC games. I'm not really a PC gamer. I'm more of a console person. In terms of my favorite DC movie, I think my top 3 favorite that I can name off the top of my head would most likely be Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, and then Under the Red Hood, and then definitely Batman Begins, Return of the Joker. Those by far my top 3 favorite DC animated films. And ironically, they're all Batman, because Batman always has the best animated films. And your last question is, what would be defined as the best story moment in a video game? Oh, so like a twist. I think one of my all-time favorite twists in a video game is definitely from Infamous, when you find out that, spoiler alert, that the main villain is actually a future version of yourself that came back in time to kind of prepare you for the beast for the second game. I thought that twist was just unbelievable. And I think another great set of twists is just really any significant twist that happens all throughout the Metal Gear Solid franchise, since that is my favorite video game franchise of all time. And, Hideo Kojima and the team at Konami has always been able to surprise me with their twist for the Metal Gear Solid franchise. The next question comes from Deafening Giraffes, and you want to know, do I like Mountain Dew, and if so, what is my favorite flavor? Deafening Giraffe, how dare you ask me such a question? No, I don't like Mountain Dew. I think Mountain Dew is a terrible drink. I don't consider it to be I don't consider this stuff to be the main gaming drink. I think it's terrible. And anyone who drinks Mountain Dew should be ashamed of themselves. As you can tell, it's my favorite soda. So, yeah, my favorite flavor, original. Sorry for that. The next large set of questions come from Arturo Avocado. He wanted to know, what is my goal for the future? Describe my dream house. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know. I guess just not an apartment, I guess. Place to live with a family, I don't know, anywhere but Vegas. Pets maybe, yes, I want at least a dog. Dream job, well, I'm currently going to school for journalism because I want to be a professional gaming journalist. because after my trip to E3, that's kind of what I want to do every year. I want to be able to go to these great conventions to meet all these really great people that work in the gaming industry and hopefully give my opinion, which is why I'm going to be pushing video games very, very hard on my channel this year. What food or foods don't I like? Well, I'm allergic to peanut butter and mustard, but I guess anything else I'm, willing to try. Favorite restaurant? Pizza Hut, Panda Express, usually. Have I ever thought about joining the military? Yes, I tried it when I was I got out of college, didn't work out, and I haven't tried since. What are my thoughts on violent games created by violent individuals' political idea? It's BS. I've been playing violent video games as far back as I can remember, even going back to, before the rating system was kicked in. So I've been definitely playing first-person shooter games, like something like Doom or Wolfenstein, to fighting games like Mortal Kombat, and, I turned out fine. So this whole video games creates violent people is just complete BS. What is my bucket list? I actually did a video doing the top 5 things I wanted to do before I died, but I took it down, and, I'm not sure if I'll re-upload it or I'll just redo it again. I'm not really sure. And what new language I like to learn? Oh, definitely Japanese. I've been kind of trying to learn Spanish since I've lived here in Vegas, but for some reason, Spanish just doesn't seem to stick with me, and it's not really a language that I'm personally fond of. It just doesn't work for me. I'm definitely more fond to want to learn Japanese because, visiting Japan is actually one of the few things I actually want to do before I die, which just so happens to be on my bucket list. So, definitely Japanese. The next 3 questions come from Muley Jesus. What are my opinions on the Oscars and the nominees? I don't really care. Not really big into movie award season, whether it's the Oscars, the Academy Awards, the Golden Globes. I don't even know how they judge these things, and I'm not really interested. Next question is, will 2015 be a disappointment? No. It looks like it's going to be a pretty solid year for both movies and video games, but you never want to put your hopes up too high lest you be disappointed by your own ambitions. Next question is, do I think the order might flop? No, I do not think the order will flop. If this is coming from the creative team of God of War, and since it doesn't have co-op and it doesn't have multiplayer, it means that its greatest strength has to be its story. And any time you give me a game where the game's story is going to be its strongest element, that is enough for me to be willing to give the game a chance. And, I have faith in Santa Monica Studios. I put them a little bit ahead of Naughty Dog in my opinion, but, anything is possible, but I seriously doubt that the order is going to flop. I think it's going to be a very solid game. And the last question, and the great question, and my favorite question of this episode, comes from Fogs Gaming, and you want to know, what are my thoughts on video game movies in general? Okay. As much as video game movies do have a bit of a bad reputation, they have had a couple of video game-based movies that I do think are relatively good. I absolutely love the first Mortal Kombat movie, which in my opinion is Paul W.S. Anderson's best film he's ever made. I actually don't mind the very first Resident Evil movie, although I hate all the other ones. I think video game movies, if you're going to do them, take the material and alternate and change it in a way that people who don't play video games have to understand. I think one of the biggest biases about people who are video gamers like me, who tend to see video game movies, is that we want to see exactly what we've seen in our video games, and that's not how I am. If you're gonna, because I don't want to see what I've already done. If you're gonna do it, change it in a way that it's respectable to its original source material, but it allows newer viewers and people who don't play the video games can understand it perfectly. And I think that's always the biggest mistake when it comes to video game movies. You either want to make a movie about a video game for the gamers, or you want to make it for the moviegoers, and you kind of have to find a good balance of both. And with that, those are all the questions that you guys sent in for this particular episode. I would like to thank all of you guys for sending in a really great set of questions. I really had fun with this one. And if you like this video, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to track me in my future episodes of People's Questions. So make sure you get your questions in the comments down below before next Wednesday, before I start filming episode 153. Like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.